Several years ago, Jason, the actor who played Tommy Oliver, made a movie called Legend of the White Dragon, and it is finally finished. Recently, the creators of this movie confirmed that color correction had been completed, which means that all that remains is to begin distributing the movie. We don't know if this film will be released in theaters or only on the internet, but that's not what we're here to talk about in this video. In 1995, the best Power Rangers film in history was released, and so far, this film has never been surpassed by any other production in this franchise. Jason was also part of this film, and now he has a chance to achieve the same thing he did in 1995, impress all the fans. We know that the film Legend of the White Dragon is not part of Power Rangers, but the theme is quite similar. In Legend of the White Dragon, there will be some characters who will wear a suit and at the same time have various powers, something similar to what a ranger is. According to rumors on the internet, Jason wanted the franchise to change a bit and create something more serious, but we cannot confirm this. The irony is that now the franchise is looking to create more serious content in the reboot, and if this reboot is successful, it is sad that Jason was not part of it. Perhaps this is why Jason wanted to make his own version of the Power Rangers in a slightly more serious way, and now we have Legend of the White Dragon. How might this film affect the reboot? We know that this film was made on a very low budget, so the special effects cannot be judged in the same way we would judge the special effects of a Hollywood film. Despite this, we can judge other things such as style, story, theme, and creativity. If this film, created on a fairly low budget, manages to give us fans what we want, then it will be proven that the success or failure of the reboot will not be due to the money invested. For many years, we have judged Power Rangers because of the low budget they have had in each episode, and although we can criticize the special effects, we all know that this is not what needs to change. A higher budget will greatly help to improve the quality of the product, but the changes that the franchise needs to make are not based on quality, but on the overall idea. If the problem with the franchise were quality, then the 2017 movie would have been a success, but even though it's a good movie, it's not what the franchise needs. We don't know if the movie Legend of the White Dragon will be a good movie, but perhaps it can serve as a good example for Hasbro to take notes and understand the franchise a little better. Jason dedicated a large part of his life to Power Rangers and he knew the franchise very well, so he obviously knew what it took to give our heroes a better path. Sometimes big companies don't want to listen to actors because they think actors don't know what they're doing, but sometimes those actors know the characters better and know what will work. This is very similar to what happened with Deadpool, as Ryan Reynolds spent several years asking for a chance to create a movie about this character, but no one paid attention to him, and he had to invest his own money to create a short film about the character to prove that his idea was good. If this had happened with Jason, then perhaps the Power Rangers franchise would be thriving in a different way and they wouldn't have had to cancel everything so suddenly. We know that for Jason this movie was very important to him, and this was shown in all the events he attended about the Power Rangers as he was given autographed cards of the movie. This was possibly his vision of what could be a new version of a Power Ranger with a different style and maybe without using some elements. Obviously, we haven't seen the movie yet, but from the images that have already been released, we can tell that the main character's costume has a very similar style to the Power Rangers. We don't know if the whole movie is going to have a similar style in the story since maybe the only thing like a ranger is the costume, but maybe everything else is totally different. An example of this is that in the video no Zord appears, however, the main character comes flying out of the sky, much like the teletransportation of the Rangers. I'm not trying to make a comparison between this movie and the Power Rangers as perhaps it is something totally different, but we have obviously all noticed that the main character's costume makes him look like a ranger. This leads us to make a comparison of everything else to see if Jason wanted to create his own version of the Power Rangers. What we can point out is that the main character's costume looks excellent and apparently has different powers. He doesn't use weapons, but rather his hand extends a blue energy that works like a sword. We also already saw that he can fly, but he is also bullet resistant and has the power to burn people. From what we see in all the images released, apparently, the villain is going to wear a suit just like the main character, and it seems that both suits have the same powers. Something that impressed me a lot is that another of the powers that these characters have with this suit is that they can create a ball of energy and throw it. This reminds me of a lot of several characters, and it is excellent that they added it to this movie. Seeing all these elements that the movie is going to have, I can say that it has a combined style between the Power Rangers and Street Fighters. One of the things it is going to have that we always see in Street Fighters is street fights, but here they use guns, and the characters are not wearing a special costume. I think this takes the movie to a more realistic style, and so it's not all fantasy. Let's talk about the special effects, as this is an essential part of any production, and in this film, it seems they went all out to give us good effects. An important part of having good special effects is the lighting, and here they were able to create the right lighting for all the effects. We must remember that this is not a movie that has an investment of hundreds of millions of dollars, so we can't judge it as if it was a Marvel movie. Still, we must say that it has a great image quality and can compete with many productions with big investments. The fire, the energies of different colors, the camera movements, the 3D creations, and many other things that make up the special effects, we can say that they are excellent. Let's talk about some controversial issues, and we know that Jason no longer wanted to be part of the Power Rangers franchise, so this movie was going to be a big project outside the franchise. We know that the actor had the talent to do other movies with this style of martial arts, but apparently the franchise wasn't giving him the respect he deserved, and maybe that's why he decided to do other things. Those of us who have seen Jason since the beginning of the Power Rangers know that his talent in martial arts was incredible, but he also deserved to act in other projects that were more challenging, and I think he got that opportunity here. In this movie he is going to have the opportunity to show his acting skills, as there is apparently a lot of action, but there is also drama, and to be able to do these parts you need to have good acting skills. Many can create theories about what was going on between the owners of the franchise and Jason, but no one is going to know what was really going on. One possible theory could be that Jason perhaps could see that the franchise needed a change, so that the Power Rangers was aimed at an adult audience, but maybe the producers didn't want to listen to him. This is just a theory, but the reality is that no one knows what happened, although if we take this new movie as an example, maybe we can draw some conclusions. In the beginning of this video, we talked about how this movie seems to be a different version of the Power Rangers, since it has the same style, but with some changes that seem to be directed at an adult audience. Here we can see real-life guns, deaths, and much more violence. At the same time, we can still see a man inside a suit full of power with which he can fly, and this is something that comes from a fantasy story. Basically, it's a mix between the Power Rangers and an action movie aimed at an adult audience. We don't know if this idea was completely Jason's idea, or maybe it comes from someone else who wanted Jason to be the lead actor because of his talent for a style like this. The question we must ask ourselves is, should the new version of the Power Rangers be like this? We've already talked a lot about the reboot, but this is the first time we can have an example of what a version of the new franchise could look like. Obviously, we're not saying it's going to be like this, but if the franchise decides to do something like this, would you agree? Remember that there are already rumors of the possible elimination of Zords, and in this movie there are no Zords. Also, they have already confirmed that it is going to be directed for an adult audience and for that they are possibly going to show real weapons and deaths, just like in this movie. In conclusion, the possible new style of the franchise may not be too far from the style of this movie. Write in the comments your opinion about this movie and if you would like the reboot to be like this. Like this video and subscribe to become a Power Rangers legend.